Okay, so we are starting off today with a group of Zoom calls with the speakers of the Created Order Conference, and we're super, super excited to have our first guest today, which is Kristen Tucker. And I just want to welcome you, Kristen. I'm so excited that you're going to be coming to speak at the conference in Charlotte. And I just want to kind of say, first of all, thank you for coming on today. I know you're super busy.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a great honor to be a part of this conference.
Oh, well, we're honored to have you. And I want to go ahead and just kind of use this time for you to talk to the women that are going to be seeing this video and kind of explain to them why, let's start off with this. Let's start off with a little bit more of background about you, and then we'll go into why you're excited about being part of the conference. So tell us a little bit about you. How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I'm a North Carolina girl through and through. I was born and raised in North Carolina, and I had to grow up fast as a child. If anyone has done their Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 8. So intensity is a part of my life. But with that, what I had to find out was where is my passion and my call, because I had to grow up so fast. And so with that, I decided to just explore different things, and I fell in love with working with people. I even worked at a funeral home when I was a little girl that my uncle owned. So I was working with people. Yeah. I was working with people at their most difficult times of their lives, and that helped me fall in love with people. And so I worked in higher education for about 9 years as a housing director, and then moved into full-time ministry in 2012 when I was ordained, and just love serving amongst people and helping them today, especially with all that goes around and the pressure and overwhelming life circumstances.
I know, it's so true. Do you feel like, because you said 2012 you started in ministry?
Correct.
Okay, so have you seen a change in the climate of our society since you started, as far as the part where you mentioned that people just feel a little bit basically overwhelmed?
Yes, I do. And I feel like we carry so much more than we really have to. And that brings life into an order of stress and feeling like we've lost complete control. And we were not created for that purpose. We were created to enjoy life and have life in abundance. So I just really want that to hone in as we continue to grow, especially as women today in our society.
It's so true. And I know that you, Kristen, speak to audiences of women all the time. And I feel like one of the things that you just said that I want so bad for people to realize, women in general, and especially at the Created Order Conference, is that we're not meant to live in this, space of lack. We are meant to live in abundance. And I feel like when women hear that, they're like, that sounds so amazing, but how do I do it? How do I get there? And so that would make a lot of women feel like there's this long to-do list that we have to check off in order to receive that. And it's not necessarily the case, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and
so
finding that balance of what is even balance looking like. It looks different for all of us. And so finding what works for us and owning it. We can own those things. We can own our new habits or our new way of seeing things. It doesn't need to be that everything is seen and heard and done the same exact way. And so that's what I love of the diversity of who we are. One is God's creation, but two is women, and just where our lives go with that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so awesome how you said it. And I love how you said we need to own it, because I think that there just comes a point in your life where you get tired trying to make everybody else happy and do it everybody else's way. And there's so much freedom in just deciding that, I'm here now and I'm going to accept who God made me to be. I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to own it. And I don't need everybody else to understand that, as long as we know where we're going and what our intention is with our life. I think it's really cool. And I think what's going to be cool about this conference is that there's going to be so many other women that are going to be right next to you saying, yeah, girl, own it, because you deserve this. And they might not have that in their everyday life. I know a lot of times when you try to stay on a personal growth path, sometimes the people closest to you don't understand why you're doing it or where you're going. So I think that's going to be something that you really bring to the table at the conference, of just helping women to own their gifts and to understand what role God plays in that. You are actually you're in session 4, so you're going to be talking about partnering with God. And I think that, that could be a conference in itself. I mean, really, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And without giving, I don't want to give away, obviously, my session, but I will tell the women that are watching here that my life, especially in high school and college, my partnership was in unhealthy relationships. I could not be single. And until I was 26 years old, and it was me going around the mountain yet again, constantly, that I finally said, there's got to be more to this. And so when I broke up with my boyfriend in 2007, I thought, okay, I'm going to have my life together and I'm going to meet the one in the fall. And to be quite honest, I have not been in a serious relationship since 2007. And instead, God has flooded opportunities and purpose. So my partnering with God session is going to be about that, finding out what are things that put us in a box and let us be free in what he wants to create in our lives, which is that created order, that structure there of just really finding out our passion.
Oh, I love that. I love it. And I love that, it's funny because a lot of the, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about, but a lot of what the conference is in the beginning part is just recognizing what is clutter in your life. Yes. And I've noticed that a lot of people think that clutter is stuff, but stuff is a big, broad category. So I always say that stuff can be things. It can be even, debt. It can be excess weight. It can be that negative voice in your head that you're carrying around all the time that's saying, who do you think you are? You can't do this. Those dreams are too big. Nobody else is doing that. And it can be relationship clutter. And relationship clutter is huge. And it's funny because God walks us through that relationship clutter all on different levels. And I know for me, I have gone through learning a lot about relationships even in the past year. I think sometimes, I don't know, maybe you found this, where the more you try to align yourself with God, the more he shines a light on the relationships you're already in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. So I think that, just freeing yourself from that is going to be such a huge relief for a lot of people, but also teaching the women that come to the conference how exactly they do that. How do you partner with God? What does that look like on a daily basis? I think a lot of people would say, hey, yeah, sign me up. I want to partner with God. But then they need to really think about how they're going to implement that into their everyday schedule. So I know you're going to teach them that, and that's amazing. I know for, part of the reason why you're wrapping up the conference is because I just want people to realize at the end that their dreams are not too big. And so once they get rid of that clutter and they've realized what they want to focus on and they have the tools in place, I want you to just, make sure that they know that no matter what, if they go home and nobody agrees with them or nobody gets it, not only do they have this new community of friends, but they have God on their side, cheering them on every day.
Absolutely. And I love a bouquet of flowers and the fact that each flower is so diverse, but when you put it together, it is absolutely beautiful. And that's the thing, is that every woman that is there, if there is 200, 2,000 women there, he will speak to us in 200 and 2,000 different ways. We are beautifully diverse in that. And so, he will meet us there. There will be no mistake of the women that come to this. He will meet you there. And that's what's so exciting, especially about this conference and just getting together to look and search for this.
It is so true. And he will be there. He will show up. And it will be life-changing for every person. I think the biggest step for a lot of women is giving themselves permission to take time out of the everyday tasks and the schedule and the kids and the work and the partners and all of this and saying, you know what, this is a day for me. But, can you speak to that for a second? Of just letting yourself have permission to do this, because this could literally change the trajectory of their lives, right?
Right. When I was evaluating just my own, again, life 12 years ago, it was, why do I always say no to me? And I feel like I'm selfish for saying yes to me. And I learned more and more in my times of study and just being with a church and a community that encouraged me, that saying yes to me is a great step of faith, that saying no actually limits me. So I would encourage these women, all women, say yes to yourself this weekend. Have a weekend for you, because it's well deserved, and it shows the importance of also this is a weekend where it could be Sabbath rest, where you're just sitting, you're breathing, taking in what you need to, gaining relationships, not entering into the conference and comparing with each other of where we're at in our journey, but celebrating where we're at in all of our journeys and hearing each other's stories. I just think it will be a great yes to yourself. So when that inner critic shows guilt, know that God does not speak in guilt. He does not speak in guilt. He is just really going to meet us there, and it's just going to be exciting. So I hope that women will say yes for themselves this weekend.
Oh, me too. That's my prayer for everybody. I've been praying so much for this conference, Kristen, and just praying that whoever God wants to fill those seats, he will get them there. He will form a way. And I think a lot of times, if you're listening to this, in the future, if you see this video and you're like, hey man, this totally resonates with me, it's God kind of tapping you on the shoulder saying, yes, it is. Like, this is for you. We created this conference for women like you, women that are just feeling overwhelmed, women that are stressed out, and women that want to get excited about life again. They want to wake up every day and know that they are living the purpose that God had intended for them. And they're not distracted by the clutter, which becomes excuses, really. And, and that clutter that clutters up your schedule can also become an excuse. You can know deep in your soul that God's prompting you to come, but you just make up an excuse because so-and-so needs me, or this, I need to do this, or I need to do that. And you'll never find out what you're missing if you don't answer that call. It's really also a form of obedience. I was doing an interview on my podcast with Angie Smith, who I love.
Yes.
And she was talking about leaving her kids to go speak in a different country, and somebody sent her a nasty email, another mom, and said, well, how dare you leave your kids, and this and that, and really tried to make her feel bad. And God spoke to her and said, basically in a nutshell, her children were going to learn more about him through her obedience and being an example than they would ever see from anything else. Because as women, we are leaders in our families, in our homes, in our communities, and people are watching us. And I think that needs, we need to be bold. We need to be brave. And that means stepping out and saying, what, guess what? I'm going to something like this. It's for me. And that is okay. No apologies.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Well said on that. Very good.
Well, I'm so excited. If anyone wants to look you up before the conference, I know your bio and your link is on the website under jenniferfordberry.com, Created Order Conference. They can find out about you. We posted a little clip of you. You were speaking recently, and that's on the Facebook page, and that's really inspiring. But I know that you have been appointed to be here by God, so I'm super excited for what he has plan to come out of your mouth and into the hearts of the women listening. So I'm super, super, super grateful that you're a part of this, Kristen.
Well, again, it is a true honor to be a part of this. And I cannot wait to when we can all be in the same room and we can just, again, celebrate each other's lives and get to know each other and create that community, because that community will start that weekend, but it certainly will not end that weekend. And I love it that we will be warriors for each other on our life path. Yes, it's going to be great.
I'm so excited. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on this call, and we are excited to have you live and in person on June 29th in Charlotte.
Well, thank you. I can't wait for y'all to get to the Queen City.
Bye.
Bye.